I built this car for one goal: to be the fastest stick car on the planet. So I think most people know me from my white car, which I bought back in 2010 from Darren DiChiara. So some people might not know that, but that car has quite a history in its own. And I think that's kind of what rubbed off on me is Darren's history with the car, and me taking it to the track and trying to do what Darren did, and then eventually kind of topping Darren's fastest time in the car, which kind of really lit a fire in me. Which was back in, I think, 2012, when I ran the 836 pass. What really drove me to build the new orange car is just in 2017 at World Cup Finals, I ran 195 mile an hour in the quarter. And just thinking about that car not having any safety equipment other than a 10-point cage, and starting a family, I just needed to make a car that was safer for me to go out and, trap 200 mile an hour in. So that was really the main goal. It was safety, and then also just being able to make the car a little bit lighter as well in that process. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It's just I wanted to make it as safe and as structurally sound as possible for me to go down the track. The other thing that I really wanted to do with this orange car is to keep it separate from the white car, because the white car kind of has a special place in my heart. It's been through a lot with me and a lot in the past, and I wanted to kind of keep it untouched as far as the chassis goes. I didn't want to cut it up, so I wanted to kind of keep it for my future use, to turn it back into a street car again. That's why I kind of bought this new chassis. I got a great deal on this chassis, which was basically, it had some front end structural damage, and the guy had already started to try to cut it up to try to make a race car out of it. Doug at Precision Chassis did a good job of taking kind of a basket case car and turning it into an amazing race car. Everything you see in the orange car is kind of my vision put together in a car that is really an extension of me. I wanted an independent rear suspension because that's how the Supra comes from the factory. I wanted a 6-speed trans. I didn't want a Liberty 5-speed or like a dog box or a clutchless trans. I wanted a true 6-speed trans like you would find in an OEM car, and that's why I went with the T56 Magnum. Basically everything you see in that orange car is exactly what I want in a stick shift race car, is basically what it is. And it truly is a race car. I always said that if I build a real race car, watch out, because the white car was always kind of like a street car that I would take to the track, and it was still very much a street car. It had very minimal cage in it. Back when I ran 836 in it, it still had AC, power steering. It really had all the creature comforts. It had full interior in it. So when I would get to the track, I would take the exhaust off from the downpipe, run an open downpipe, put VP import fuel in it, and run it. And it was a blast. And that's really kind of what I want to get back to with the white car when I eventually bring it back, is something that's a true street car, that I can take it out on the street and take it to the car shows and things like that. One other major difference between the white car and the orange car is most of the white car's life, it was ran on a synchro box. So it was the factory V160 trans is basically what I ran in that car for the majority of its life until the end there when I started doing these T56 conversions. So going 817 on a V160, I feel like is a major accomplishment. I never got to go where I wanted to go with it. I mean, I really wanted to run 7s on a V160. It's just a little bit hard when things happen with the V160 like they did. I mean, now that there's no real parts available for them anymore, racing them is just not really tenable anymore. So that is really the reason I started doing these T56 Magnum kits. The major difference really now is I'm running a true race box in this car, which makes quite a big difference in the ability to shift it quickly, and use things like the strain gauge to help me shift it even faster. One thing that's really important to realize on this orange car is it's still quite young. You know, the first race we brought this out in was in World Cup 2018. So just a little over a year ago was the first real test hits on this car. So we didn't really do anything good at World Cup. There was too many issues, and we were trying to rush to get that car ready for World Cup. So the showing at World Cup in 18 was just rough. We took it on the street to try to get through issues. There were some videos, I don't know if anyone saw those, but there was some video where we took it out on the street to try to shake it down, to try to figure out what was going on, to try to get some data on it, because we couldn't get enough passes at the event. Fast forwarding here to Texas 2K19, it did pretty decent down there. We still didn't get it where we wanted. I don't even think we ran a 7 down there. It again was not really a great showing, so it's been kind of frustrating trying to get this car where we want it. And really, it's kind of the same struggle that I had with the white car with the diaphragm style clutch and trying to get that clutch to slip on the line. So with this new setup, which is basically an adjustable clutch from Black Magic, it allows me to set up the clutch with a system of base weight and counterweight to dial it in to each track condition and allow it to slip out of the line automatically. And then as the RPM increases, that counterweight comes in and locks the clutch up going down the track. So it's been a learning experience with that clutch, but we got it handled now, and that's the results that you're seeing with the 725 pass for the record here in the States for the T56, and then the 717 pass dropping it even further. And we know we have a decent amount more left in it, and some more clutch tuning to do and some more chassis tuning to do. So like I said, the car is still really young. This is probably maybe the 30th full pass on the car, I would say. And we're already deep into the 7s. So we're hoping, of course, to be the first stick car, H-pattern car to run 6 seconds. And we're hoping to do that down at Texas 2K20. One of the most important aspects of the orange car for me is using the car as a platform to test the products that I create. All of the parts that I'm trying to develop to make IRS rear suspension better is used on this car. So I have the Ultimate IRS subframe, which is a full chromoly tube suspension system that basically is a drop-in replacement for the factory rear subframe. It saves about 30 pounds and uses all the factory pickup points. So it's basically a drop-in replacement. You can still use all your factory arms if you would like, but I do recommend using adjustable arms so that you get that adjustability to get you that alignment, especially for racing use. Then it uses my lower control arm setup, the Penske-based PRS racing shocks that I use on the back. It also uses my GR1000F trans kit, which is basically a Tremec T56 Magnum OEM gear set with Liberty faceplated parts installed in it. It's still the helical OEM gear set with cryo treatment and polishing done to strengthen it up a little bit, but I'm putting all that power down through truly a factory Tremec gear set, which I think is pretty cool. So as far as the future goes, we still have some room left in this car. On the 725 pass, that was on the Precision Pro Mod 88, and we were pushing about 60 pounds through it. I did notice that that turbo seemed a little bit lazy. So after we ran that 725 pass, which I told the tuner, like, we're not changing that turbo out till I get what I want, which is to run faster than 730. So as soon as we ran that 725, I was like, all right, let's put the 98 on there. And we turned up the boost with that 98 now, since we have a little more headroom, and we ran 70 pounds of boost on that 717 pass. And we actually have room to really run up to like 90 pounds, I would say, with this motor. So, I mean, there's definitely some room for more mile an hour there to get some more power through it. But just adding up the details on what it's done in the 330 and the 8th mile, on other passes, 205 is probably enough to get us right there on the edge of running the 6. So with just a little more boost, we should be into the 6s, and that is the goal, to run 6s and be the first H pattern car to run 6s.